Studio Blue Radio is proud to present Raffa Music Show by Raffaela Madaffari. Check the microphone.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Raffa Music Show here on Studio Blue Radio. I'm Raffy, and today I have a very special guest, Genus. Hello, Genus.
Hi, Raffy. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, your real name is Michael.
Yes.
Where did the name Genus come from?
So, I'd love to tell you this really big, elaborate story that had a lot of deep meaning and everything, but ultimately I wanted to pick something snappy. I've always been a kind of a biology nerd, I guess, so I did wanted to have some kind of relation to that. So I played with a lot of ideas, and a genus is a two-syllable word, kind of related to biology. And also, I think it kind of makes people do a bit of a double take, because from a distance it might look like I'm saying genius. I'm calling myself a genius, but in actual fact it's genus. So so might start a bit of a conversation.
Perfect. Does the name have any correlation with just like the concept of the musical project, or is it just a name you chose?
It was a name I chose, really. As I said, I just wanted to, pick something that wasn't a mouthful to say, because I did play with the idea of saying like order, genus, species, and I was like, no, it's far too much. So no, I mean, in relation to the music I make, I don't really set really a correlation with the name. It's just, it is what it is, and I needed something, so I picked
awesome.
Genus.
Very cool. So what made you start this electronic music project?
Wow, so I suppose if I was to go really right back, I kind of first got into music when I was really young, like maybe 11 or 12. My sister, actually I have an older sister, and she had a boyfriend who played drums, and he essentially gave me lessons, gave me a couple of drums to practice on, and I was hooked. From then I kind of started setting up kind of local bands with kids my age and from school and stuff, and we started kind of playing kind of, I suppose, grunge music, kind of Nirvana kind of stuff. That's what we all wanted to be, Nirvana. There was 3 of us, and we used to like kind of rehearse as much as possible and like trash our instruments, in ode to Nirvana, even though like we didn't have any money for new stuff. We did it anyway. That progressed through my teens and 20s, and kind of as I got older the music got heavier sort of, so I ended up drumming for death metal bands. I was in a band called Vile Regression for most of that time, I guess, and then in my late 20s I just kind of stopped. I honestly can't even say why, to be honest. I think I was looking to focus on career a little bit. I don't know, I kind of ask myself that question regularly, why did I stop? So from then up until like I'd say 2 years ago, I didn't make any music, and then it's always been in the back of my head to create, and I've always been a huge fan of music, and still that maintained, and my taste grew and evolved, and I suppose I found myself going down a more electronic route. But I mean, I'm a kind of broad listener. I listen and love everything really, but that was kind of pulling me in, and I was kind of thinking to myself, I could probably do that, and I can find my way around scales and keyboards and computers, so why don't I just start learning? So I'd say it was around the end of 2019 where I actually started kind of taking it seriously. Okay, I'm going to actually learn how to do this and create. And then 2020 we got hit with a pandemic, and that just gave me so much free time. I was home all the time. I had my computer, and I just got stuck in, and kind of started really seriously from there. When I found kind of what I was able to create and how much I enjoyed doing it, I've been hooked ever since. It's become an obsession really now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Sorry, that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
No. That was pretty great. So kind of started with grunge, then went to the heavy metal, and then ended up in electronic music. I that's not uncommon. So same thing kind of happened to me, where like I was always into like I started out with like, pop punk stuff, and then I went more into like heavy metal, hard rock, and then my late 20s, around the time I turned 30, that's when I really started getting into electronic music. And I think like Gorillaz played a big role in that. And,
okay, yeah.
I forget which album they had released, but yeah, and then I had started experimenting on my own with electronic music, which is the music I make as well, but it's not any good.
Well,
I have like 4 listeners on Spotify, and they're all people I know.
Well, I mean, I don't think that means too much, it's but I'd love to hear it. You will send me some stuff.
True, absolutely. So you said that you were a drummer. You use vocals in your current music. Were you ever a vocalist before, or is that just something new to you as well?
Yeah, I suppose I have. I've played with it throughout that time when I was doing backing vocals in some bands I was in. There's been so many. And there was a short period where I was singing in kind of a 2-piece sort of thing. It was acoustic guitar and me singing. It wasn't anything serious. I mean, I think we played one show, and the rest was just kind of us just drinking and write music kind of things.
Right.
But yeah, like I think I've always, without sounding pretentious, I've always known I can sing. But again, around that kind of time, that late 2019, I did actually start doing a bit of vocal training as well, because I did want to kind of incorporate vocals into the music. I mean, there's a lot of electronic music out there. A lot of that tends to be instrumental. I think to kind of set myself aside from that a little bit, I thought I'd incorporate the vocals. Now, having said that, I still write music that's just purely instrumental, but I think it's nice to have that other element.
Yeah. So now, when you create your music, do you plan it out beforehand, or do you just kind of like see where it takes you?
It changes. Every song is different. I mean, some songs could just be like, I'll have just a little riff or a little ostinato in my head, and I'll put it down and then build a chord progression off that and see what happens. And some songs I have kind of rigid plan. 9 times out of 10 it never goes to plan. It usually changes halfway through or so. Yeah, I mean, everything is different. Everything is really different. Sometimes I'll just start making noises. I'll just kind of start experimenting, making sounds. And I'm actually working on something at the moment that was just started as like a kind of weird sort of tape loop thing. And I just resampled that and looped that again, and I'm just kind of building and yeah, I've got too many ideas in my head and not enough in the machine.
Well, yeah, I saw, because I was reading over the interview questions I sent you, and your plan to release a single every month for the rest of the year, like that's that's pretty big stuff. yeah, so it's an approach. I think a lot of people are taking it at the moment, well, not necessarily the by month, but just releasing singles. I think the way things are at the moment, it's very much a singles market. Absolutely.
But I originally had an intention to do an album, so a lot of those songs I'm releasing have already been written, and I'm just spacing the release of them out. Having said that, I do have a little bit of a panic moment for the end of the year. It's like, shit, I need to write something. Oh, sorry, am I allowed to swear?
Yes, you can swear.
Okay. Sorry, I slipped out there.
No, that's quite all right. That's quite all right.
So yeah, I mean, and at the same time, I think I do like to push myself. So setting myself that goal is kind of a bit of a a kick I need to give myself just to keep myself motivated and creative.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
as I say, I have so many ideas, and I might start something and then another idea will take over, and this will just help me focus, I think. That was the plan.
That's awesome. Thank you for listening to the Raffa Music Show here on Studio Blue Radio. Up next, we have the song Io e Me by Martina Raiola. Enjoy!
Non è facile parlare di me, un po' testarda, un po' lunatica. Mi piace ascoltare storie e raccontarle. Quando capita amo l'odore di caffè, il sole caldo che solletica. Non voglio mai svegliarmi presto, soprattutto quando nevica. Un chiaroscuro di colori, indecifrabile polemica, come un disegno un po' distorto. Voglio trovare la mia metrica. Io e me ed io, vorrei salire le scale, affacciarmi e godermi la vista. Io e me ed io, vorrei sdraiarmi su un prato e restare solo me. Io sono un quadro appeso storto, una figura asimmetrica, la primavera con il sole, la pasta al forno di domenica. Mi spaventa pensare a domani, senza cinture allacciate. Vorrei prendere tutto tra le mie mani e poi fermarmi per un po'. Un chiaroscuro di colori, indecifrabile polemica, come un disegno un po' distorto. Voglio trovare la mia metrica. Io e me ed io, vorrei salire le scale, affacciarmi e godermi la vista. Io e me ed io, vorrei sdraiarmi su un prato e restare solo me. Quando poi siamo noi, siamo sushi e un gelato, il tramonto sul Colosseo. Quando poi siamo noi, se perdo la strada la ritrovi al posto mio. Ed io, vorrei salire le scale, affacciarmi e godermi la vista. Io e me ed io, vorrei sdraiarmi su un prato e restare solo me. Un chiaroscuro di colori, indecifrabile polemica, come un disegno un po' distorto. Ho trovato la mia metrica.
So you use a mixture of hardware and software. So how did you start off? Like, did you just start off with like a computer program and then like research what kind of hardware to get?
Yeah, I started off just learning Ableton and DAW, and yeah, I kind of was first just learning to use that basically. So writing everything in MIDI, essentially, and kind of then putting vocals over it. But this is kind of my first stuff, so it's all terrible. But then I'm not sure what it was. Oh yeah, it was I don't know, some random YouTube algorithmic suggestion showed me a guy called Amulets. He's an American guy. He does music with tape loops basically.